Alright, good morning guys. I had a student ask me to make a video on how to use the Desmos calculators online, the scientific and the graphing, because you may not be super familiar with those. Um, so I'm going to make this video show you how you could use it for graphing lines or for doing the slopes and stuff, okay? So right here I got put up in front of me is yesterday's assignment, and I'm just going to show you a couple of these on how to use Desmos with them. So now before I show you the Desmos, let me say you could do this entire assignment without using Desmos. Okay. I know a calculator helps a lot of kids, but in all actuality, you don't have to have a calculator to do all this or any of it. You could just do it all by hand. And I might get into more of that later in a minute. But anyway, so find the slope of the line that passes through the points given below. So we got the point -3, -4, and 5, 8. So you know from yesterday's video and from Algebra 1 when you first learned this, that to find the slope between 2 points, you use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So in layman's terms, you subtract the y's on top and subtract the x's on the bottom. So let's see how to do that. So I'm going to open a tab. I'm going to type in Desmos Scientific first. This is kind of like a basic calculator you would have used in middle school. Okay, there's a lot of stuff on here. There's if you need to square something, if you need to make a different kind of exponent, absolute value, square roots, there's trig stuff, which we'll get to later. And then there's operations with numbers and stuff. So basically, it's like your basic calculator. And so for this specific problem, to find slope between 2 points, we're going to have to make a big fraction, right? Well, this button right here, A over B, makes a fraction for you. So you can click that and it'll automatically make your fraction. Or you can hit the little key on your keyboard that has the slash underneath the question mark. That will also make a division. Anyway, so what are our y's? We got 8 subtract -4. So that's what I'm going to put on top. Get back on top here. 8 subtract -4. Now I just used my number keys on my keyboard to do that. But you could also use these numbers here. Okay, so on the top I use my keyboard. On the bottom here I'm going to use the ones on Desmos. So on the bottom we got 5 and -3. So on the bottom I'm going to do 5 subtract -3. And then when you get everything typed in, it automatically pops your answer up over here on the side here. Now it says 1.5, but I think if we hit that, boom shakalaka, we get a fraction, 3/2. So you would just go pick the option that's 3/2. Okay? And then if you want to do a new problem, you just hit this little blue like arrow key right here. It'll give you a new line to do a problem. Okay, I'm seeing if we need anything for the scientific. Okay. Now, as far as doing other stuff on the scientific, like let's say I need to do square root of 15. I mean, I don't know if I need. We kind of did this when we did distance. If you did this, it's going to give you that decimal right there. You could do 7, raise it to the 3rd power if you don't know what that is. There's 343. You do absolute value of 2 subtract -6 if you needed to. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do on here. Alright, let me get out of that. Now let me pull up the graphing. So you just type in Desmos graphing in the graphing calculator. Now here's where we actually would use, like if we were in class, we would use a graphing calculator. And that would come in handy on something like this. So you're basically being asked to graph this line, excuse me, y equals 2/3 x plus 1. So we would go to Desmos. And I'm using my keyboard because I just find it faster. But if you wanted to use the keyboard built into Desmos, you come down here where it says Show Keypad, and then it pulls all kinds of stuff up. So why? I'm going to use the keyboard. No, I can't because I can't see it. So let me back up here. Use my computer's keyboard. Y equals, what was it? 2/3 x plus 1. So 2/3 arrow over x plus 1. Let me get that out of the way. And what that does is it graphs the line in red. Okay. Now, think about Desmos. It's not going to highlight every single point on here. But if you click on the line, it'll show a couple of points. Like specifically, it shows the y-intercept and the x-intercept. It's just built to do that. So, and if you were using Desmos on this problem, you just see which one of these graphs match up to the one Desmos gave you. And you have to be specific, okay? So we know that based on this line, and here's what I mean about you don't have to use a calculator. If you know what slope-intercept form tells you, it tells you a slope of 2/3 and a y-intercept at +1 on the y-axis. You don't need to graph this thing to find out what that is, what the graph would look like. But anyway, let's say you did. And I don't know about you all, but if you notice that this is counting by 2s, you can zoom in a little bit until you see it's by 1. Or you can zoom out. Whichever way you want to do it. Let's go back home. Let's zoom in back to 1s. Okay. So now we go by 1. So each number is a 1 spot, alright? So here's our y-intercept at 1. And our slope is supposed to be 2/3. So that means we go up 2. 1, 2. To the right 3. 1, 2, 3. There's the point. And if you click and hold it there, you can almost get to where it's at. Alright. That new point should be 3, 3. Okay? So we'd have to just look through our options here and see which one has a y-intercept at 0, 1 and a new point at 3, 3. And it's just really a game of looking. Okay? Let me get rid of that. It will also graph lines not in slope-intercept form. So if we have like 2x minus 3y equals 9, it will graph the line for you, and you can just look and see which one matches. It will also do slope or point slope form. If you had a line like that in point slope form, it'll also graph it. Okay? Desmos is really nice because you really just type in what you see from your keyboard or on the keypad given here on Desmos, and it'll graph lines for you. Okay? Let me see if we need anything. No. Okay. So there's how you use the scientific and the graphing calculators for Desmos, just a very basic level. I hope this video helps, and if you still need help with Desmos, just let me know.